podcasts over at wildgamesproductions.com and d20radio.com.
They came from the game table, dice bags in hand,
We have one brain that we share between us.
to talk about role-playing for all across the land.
And you'll like it.
The original, then basic, then one they scoured.
Kinda grabs you by the boo-boo, don't it?
To bring AD&D to the second power.
You want me to put the hammer down?
Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn AD&D 2nd edition podcast ever.
For a few days, I don't know, New Mexico somewhere, I don't know. Who knows, but the gaming is there. Hiya, folks. THACO's Hammer, number 120. This is DM Glen, coming to you live and early. And I've also got here DM Full On Gamer.
Greetings, Gamer Nation.
And DM Brian.
Hey folks, it's 0825, which means the 04. Oh my God, it's early. Yeah, never mind.
Hey, I'm all meted up. I've got my, I did my vitamins, my protein powder, kicking back the caffeine, trying to keep going this morning. And today we've got an email show. So let us commence with hits and crits, and then we'll get into that.
Well?
One thought he was invincible, the other thought he could fly.
So?
They were both wrong.
Son of a bitch is dug in like an Alabama tick.
You're hit. You're bleeding, man.
I ain't got time to bleed.
We're sending somebody in to negotiate!
Anybody else want to negotiate?
Hits and crits.
Hits and crits. How's things abroad, Full On?
Well, times change and I'm jumping around from shift to shift to shift getting things done, so I'll continue doing that until things get done. So, yay.
Must play hell with playing Tor.
It can. But I'm able to still download so I can stay on top of updates and patches, so when I get a chance I can play.
Okay, cool. Cool. How about you, Brian? What's up?
Let's see. Got back into Path of Exile. Having a lot of fun. The game becomes more fun once you actually are able to find the items and everything that you're trying to do a character build for. And now, so yeah, I'm just playing through and enjoying it. Watching some people on Twitch who are really good at the game and getting tips and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Aside from that, just been working and doing the dad thing, pretty much.
Pretty nice. Well,
And what you been doing?
But folks, this isn't the Video Game Central podcast. It's just it's the holidays and we tend to get fallow as far as gaming goes.
Yeah, no kidding.
Full On's case, very fallow. But we just had Christmas holidays here, and I got some nice stuff, some DVD. I didn't get any game stuffs, but some DVD, some recording equipment. It's pretty much.
Cool.
I've got 2 games I've got one to run, which I have no idea what I'm running, and the second one I got a BX game starting Tuesday at my game store. And the one on Monday is basically the guy who was running it was running 5e, and I've run out of stuff, and I've never written an adventure before. All right, I'll run for you.
Yeah.
Personally, I think a trial by fire would be good for him. But it's the holidays, and
right,
that kind of
thing. Yeah. Just things kind of get a little
sideways.
Yeah, sideways, put off to the side.
Yeah. I'm choosing either Tunnels and Trolls or Castles and Crusades. I'm leaning towards Castles and Crusades since they've been playing 5e, and that would be the most that would be the most familiar. That I would deign to run. Right. I mean, I looked at it to this. I'll drag out my Menser and run it. I'll play. First edition, second edition, basic, right. Castles, whatever you guys want to. Whatever works for you, Labyrinth Lord. I don't care.
Yeah, just get a game going.
Yeah, I mean, I've got stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I've got pre-gens. Just let me know what you want to do, and nobody's saying a word. So I guess it's just
Mm-hmm.
if there's a game, weather permitting. We got some pretty bad weather here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm just going to show up with something, and here I am. Let's play.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
for sure.
The Tuesday game, it was like I was Gage is back into Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other day, 2 days before Christmas, I spent a day with my grandsons traveling hither and yon like gypsies just to keep them away so Becky could wrap presents.
Oh, that's got it. And that's always fun.
One of the stops was the game store, and I looked on the bulletin board, and some guy put a big old thing up there, one of those, and I don't know where he got the artwork, but it said Dungeons and Dragons, and right under it said 1981. I said, yes!
Mm-hmm.
I could do this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what most of us cut our teeth on, so sure.
Yeah, because, I look around like on a Saturday when she's playing Pokemon, and all the D&D games are either 5e or Pathfinder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, I want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of, even though I talked to the guy and it's like 3d6 straight down, yeah, I can grit my teeth and do that.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want me to make more than one? I know how basic goes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Should I make like 3 at a time? I could do that.
Yeah, that's exactly, because basic can be really brutal at very low level.
Yeah. Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a trial, but anyway, that's me. So, folks, we got an email show, faked out.
Well, to be more specific, we got voicemails.
Yeah, I can hear Eric turn off the podcast now.
Oh well, he'll just have to deal.
He'll have to deal.
Mm-hmm.
So let's dive right into the old bag.
Alrighty then, let me just get the volume set, and the first one is from DM Laz.
Hi, Laz.
All right, so
he rises like Laz,
like Lazarus.
Good evening, wielders of the hammer. This is DM Laz. It's been a long time since I called, but I figured it was time to give a ring and throw something out there. Let's go for something really different. I would love to hear a review or your take on a second edition setting that doesn't get a whole lot of attention, and I have never ran it. But I would love to hear your take on it, as well as I would love to hear you guys do a DM brainstorm on this particular supplement. It was good enough to apparently warrant 2 versions, and that supplement is Council of the Worms. The box set, and then later in the later second edition printings, when they did the Black Book covers, they also did a campaign setting and a hardcover edition. So Council of the Worms, where players play dragons. I would love to hear this. I have never played in a game with this supplement. I'm not even sure how to go about running a game with that particular supplement, so maybe you can lead me in the right direction, because the idea of it is very appetizing. So give me your take on it, guys, and keep up the awesome work.
Okay, thank you, Les. Oh, he's digging deep, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, yeah, I seem to remember that he came out of a box, and then they did like an options type, GM's options or something like that,
right.
On Council.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah, they came out with the box set first, and then they decided they condensed it down into a black splat book, yes.
Okay, I know that. That's all I got. Go, guys.
Well, let's see. I've never used the entire campaign setting ad hoc, but I've used the rules within for half dragons.
That's usually what people dig into it for, is the half dragon rules.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Because I remember, I think I told the story, but in my game back when I was living in Orlando, where it was me and my roommate, and we decided to try to get other people involved in the game. One guy showed up and had like this. It basically looked like a half dragon from first edition. But it was converted to second, and it was really very, very powerful. It was like a 9/9 fighter magic user, I think. And I looked at it and I said, well, let me work with this, because this is a little high for my game, number one, and number two, I would like to familiarize myself with the rules. So I went.
There were half dragons. There were half dragons in 1E.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it was a 1E article. It wasn't just second edition.
I was going to say it sounds like a dragon article to me.
Yeah, that's the origin of it. And then
there was that, and then there was the people who bootlegged off adapting Draconians from Kryn.
Correct. And so basically, I found the Council of Worms. I think the Splat book just came out. It was either that or I just found the rules somewhere. I can't remember. But yeah, I basically went back through the character and I said, okay, character can have this, can't have that. Excuse me. And I said, well, the character cannot be multi-class, can either be a fighter or it can be a magic user, and he selected a magic user, so we just went from there. But yeah, that's more or less my experience with it, but I don't think it's that big of an issue to... I think we have it in our show notes somewhere. I could put it up for it in episode.
Everybody's thinking that's our standard go-to answer now. Well, we have it in the show notes. It's coming up.
Well, I wasn't going to say it's coming up, but but what we can make a segment out of it. That wouldn't be too much for an issue, I don't think. I think we can cover that pretty well.
Yeah, I was afraid he was going to ask for something even like more esoteric.
Well,
there's a little more to it than just the about of what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to Al-Qadim, don't worry.
Yeah, we can do, well, yeah, we are supposed to do that. But yeah, we kind of stopped with Forgotten Realms because there's way too much in there. But yeah, but
there's generally 3 trends that you run with the Council of Worms setting. If you're going to use the Council of Worms setting as written, you're doing things for the dragon politics, and the dragons are the superior creatures, and any of the humanoids along with them are just basically along for the ride as accessories. Mm-hmm. Then you can flip it and try to do the Dragon Riders of Pern version, where the humans or the humanoids are the primaries and the dragons are simply mounts and accessories. Mm-hmm. And then you can try to split the difference between the two and make it more of a partnership.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me.
But always remember that you are crunchy and good with ketchup.
Yeah, do not meddle in the affairs of dragons.
Yeah, the first one doesn't appeal to me, but the other two, possibly. Mm-hmm. To me, I always got Dragon Riders and Pern and stuff. I always got them linked to Dragonlands in my mind for some reason.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, very, very touchy-feely fantasy.
Oh, hardly. Let me tell you something. Pern can be pretty brutal, especially when Anne McCaffrey stepped down and her grandson took over. He went really dark with it.
Okay, well, I'm talking Pern as filtered through my ex-wife, who was a Pern junkie, and whatever. It's like she was all, girly, touchy-feely, and let's sit around and play mandolins and harps while the dragon's listening and all this other stuff. And I said, this is really boring. You know that?
Oh, I remember the Pern play-by-mail thing they did. Yeah, there were a couple of people I knew who were really into that, and half of the problem is that some players would do something or say something, and then there were whistleblowers who would go straight to Anne with it. And I'm like, why are you bothering that woman? Why are you doing this?
She gets nothing from this other than some publicity.
Exactly. But she's the definitive authority on what is Pern and what isn't. So yeah, there was a lot of tattletaling going on. It was hilarious.
It's like they're doing something on the web with Star Trek, and when he was alive, they go straight to Roddenberry.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's exactly it. And it was hilarious to me. I'm like, you guys are a bunch of third graders. It's like if something goes on that you don't particularly like, you're going to go tell the teacher? What?
Anyway, we digress.
Yeah, we digress once again. But
okay.
Thank you, Laz.
Thank you, Laz.
Right.
What else?
Let's move right along. And this second one is from DM Kojo.
I thought that sounded like Kojo earlier.
That wasn't.
They're all starting to sound like Kojo. I don't know what's going on here.
It's been a while since we heard his voice. Okay, let me get set up here. Hold on.
DM Kojo here, guys. Hey, just wanted to comment on your episode 92. Also, Corey, the year I graduated from high school. 92 is a good number. Anyway, your segment on concepts for adventures. My go-to item is the Tome of Adventure Design. I believe it's by Frog God Games. I don't have it right in front of me, but it's full of random tables to populate your dungeon and give you adventure ideas. Specifically, right at the very beginning, there's some charts that essentially are 4 columns, one of adjectives, then one of nouns, and another one of adjectives, and a fourth one, which is nouns. And you roll 4 times percentile, and you run these things all together. And you get some pretty weird results sometimes, but they really kind of prompt your memory or your imagination to try to come up with something to explain the strange title. So, for example, you might end up with Aerial Tower of the Slimy Giant. So then you got to come up with an adventure that matches that. Or you might end up with the, Frozen Tree of the, Blue Elemental, something like that. So give some really creative, weird combinations sometimes, but it's a lot of fun to kind of try to build an adventure around just some randomly generated stuff like that. That's my thoughts, and have a great show, and look forward to many more. Thanks.
Thank you, Gojo. Yeah, finally, somebody else.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Well, I think we all like it, but I mean, thank you for venturing the Tome of Adventure Design.
Tome of Adventure Design. Okay.
Yeah, that and Ultimate Toolbox, my 2 go-to books for creating.
Mm-hmm.
Funny that I only like to turn to them when I actually have a concept.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to find a good chart, roll some dice, and see what comes up.
Yeah, true.
Just every once in a while. It's not even just, I mean, when it comes to adventure design, when you're trying not to just go with the basic tropes, princess, marauding orcs, and things like that. You want to come up with something to bend your character's brains. You have to go, beyond the pale a little bit.
Right. Mm-hmm. And those 2 books are probably the best. Ultimate Toolbox and Tome of Adventure Design. I love them. Funny, I've said this before. Tome of Adventure Design I use for creating monsters because they have a monsters section that works very well.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten a couple of doozies out of there.
Mm-hmm.
It just gets my brain to going,
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and Full On I know has a couple of different ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bouncing between the Central Casting Dungeons book and a couple others, the Ultimate Toolbox and things. Those are all useful things. I don't usually go for a whole book just to do the adventure title generator. There are adventure or novel or steampunk or whatever generator memes and posters and posts out there all over the place that do a similar thing. Mm-hmm. One from column A, one from column B, one from column C. Here's your adventure, go. So it works.
Oh, I come up with the adventure first. No, actually, sometimes I come up with the title first. My favorite is taking the card game Grave Robbers from Outer Space, which is all about making competing B movies.
Mm-hmm.
Each card has a word on it, and you deal 7 cards at the beginning and take those words and make a title of a B movie.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody at the end who has cards with these words on it gets extra points. Well, I just like to take the cards and go boom, 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 boom. Okay, Slimy, Space, Marauder, Teen. Okay. Slimy, Space, Marauder, Teens. There's my title. Okay, let's go from here.
Right.
That kind of thing.
That sounds like something that Thorcamber would come up with. But anyway, sorry, Thorky, I couldn't help that. Another thing to use, which is something a little bit, not simpler, but just a different way of doing it, is the D30 Sandbox Companion.
Yes. The GM Companion and the Sandbox Companion, they're wonderful for doing stuff like that.
Exactly. Creating monsters, NPCs, all kinds of different different things. Just those 2 supplements alone could help you create a campaign.
There's all sorts of there's a lot of role-playing game books out now, especially for like Savage Worlds. Savage Worlds is good for ideas. Because a lot of them, like the one I like, I've got the pulp one, Thrilling Tales, how to make a pulp adventure, and then it's got charts, and it's okay, and they basically took the thing that they what was that Lester Dent did about how to write a pulp story.
Really?
Okay, your first third is this, your second third is this, your third is this. Yeah, he used to write The Shadow, I believe. So the first third, you got to introduce your characters and get them into trouble. Right. I always take the Raven Chandler. If nothing's happening, have a guy with a gun come in. That kind of thing.
Man, nothing gets the game going faster than that.
Yeah, but it just like it gives you A, B, C, and it's like we can apply this to anything. And there's like tons of books out there with stuff like that. Here's how to do it. It's for that genre or whatever, but there's no reason you can't use it for anything else.
Right, absolutely. It just takes just a little bit of imagination, a little bit of creativity, and there you go. All of a sudden,
yeah, he was saying like
ideas.
Lester Dent says like 1,500-page story. The first 500 pages, it's got to be here. Third, okay, get him in some more trouble, make some little, a few revelations, and blah 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 blah.
When I was playing Clickpocalypse 2, when I was obsessed with that for like 2 months. And I would, you're going from dungeon to dungeon and clearing them out and things like that. But the names they came up with for the monsters and the dungeons made me wonder if they used Home of Adventure Design, because they were some weird names.
Yeah, I used to carry around a couple of sheets that I printed out that were names people got from spam emails.
There you go.
Use those as names, because some of them are doozies. Let me tell you.
Believe you. I definitely believe that.
Oh man, Kojo, you hit gold again. Thank you.
Yep, and please start contributing again, please. We haven't heard from you in a while.
Do you have any emails to read?
I've got a few. I just thought we'd just do voicemails.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought I might want to read one or something, that's all.
If there was one from Grave Dancer, certainly, but there isn't. We just we used the last one in the last episode.
Okay.
So
all right, well, go ahead and play the next one.
Okay, let me get set up here, and this one is from DM Cal. Okay, so if you give me one moment, we'll
go Cal.
This. Okay.
Hi, THACO's Hammer. It's DM Cal again here. I have a question for you. It really goes... Wow, it just jumped in my head there. Oh, there it is. Sorry. You can edit that out. What are your thoughts on turning former PCs into NPCs in a campaign setting? I got into a conversation years ago with one of my fellow players where they pointed out they didn't like it because if they were still playing the setting, they weren't playing that character, they were playing someone new. It felt like there was some sort of inside joke that was going on, especially if you were bringing new people into the setting and you weren't sure what they were going to think. So I was wondering what you thought of it. Do you like just former PCs that you've retired turn into NPCs, even if you're playing in the same world, same setting? Or do you feel like that's okay if you jump, say, a couple hundred years in the future, and then you can refer to those former PCs maybe in some sort of little way, or, sort of shrouded in myth sort of thing? Anyway, sorry for my brain fart. Thanks for everything, and keep bringing the hammer down.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. I have no problem doing it.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, as a DM. More NPCs you don't have to make up, the better.
Absolutely. When you think about it, just using the Star campaign as an example, I liberally sprinkle old characters that I've had, characters that have played in games that I've run or in games that I've played alongside with, into my game, because if they're interesting enough characters, then at some point they're going to cross the PC's path and give them a little bit of, hey, I used to do what you do, or I still do what you do, but I'd love to do what you do, but I'm busy running this town now. I can't do it anymore, so you're going to do it for me. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And,
what about you?
I usually try to stay away from that sort of thing. We have a few times dealt with, upper tier characters lurking around as the henchlings or the story pushers for mentoring in events, but usually we just kept playing the higher level characters. We didn't stop, so we never really had an issue with it had to come up.
Interesting.
The other place I've seen that, other than role-playing games, is like once on television. If you ever followed like the Law and Order, the regular Law and Order series, the main series, they go through people. I mean,
yes.
like Sam Waterston started as assistant DA with Fred Thompson, and then when he retired and they got some new people in, he became the DA.
Oh, jeez. You got to go further back than that. You got to go back to what's his name? His last name's Hill. I just can't remember his first. Yeah. Stephen Hill. That's who he was, because he was like the first DA or the first chief DA, I think.
Yeah.
And then Sam Waterston worked under him. And then he worked under Fred Thompson. Then he became the guy.
Kicked upstairs, yeah.
Yeah, then he got kicked upstairs, and then all of a sudden he saw what was going on.
He got the new people they want to use, and he gets less time and all that, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Anyway, I think it's a good thing. I don't do it very often because I really don't have any NPCs. I don't have any former PCs like that very often. But you can even go so far as make them a plot point.
Yeah, for sure.
The reason for doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I've done that too.
Be careful, but you got to be careful.
Yeah, you don't do it too much.
His point about the inside jokes was pretty spot on. I'm thinking back of when I used to do melodrama and vaudeville at this one theater. Last night they let you go crazy, kind of with trying to crack each other up and so. I mean, you do that anyway, but I mean,
right.
All this stuff we try. And one of the main rules was for the last night was let the audience in on the joke. Don't do stuff that's so inside that nobody understands it except the actors.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. Let the players in on, the joke. Okay, he used to be this big shot guy. Now he needs help. I didn't run, but I played in a GURP Supers game one time where we were all playing ourselves as superheroes. Original idea, right? And I was basically, I can't remember my name of my character, Ironhead or something like that, but I was basically an armor class. I was an Iron Man.
Right.
And an alien suit. And we played, and then he moved the scenario ahead like 15, 20 years. And when we were playing, I got this mansion, I got money, all of a sudden I'm a rich bastard. Well, he moves ahead 20 years or so, and all of a sudden the new group of heroes is coming to me because I'm like the only one left, and I'm an old man. And one of the things about my suit was I didn't age.
Right. Yeah, you still had the stats when you were in the suit. It's when you were out of the suit.
Well, I've been out of the suit for a while, but I wear the suit, sometimes just because of that. But I would be so bored with life. I'd have my servants, I'd take the suit off, have my servants put it in there, and I'd do target practice to the suit because I couldn't hurt it. It's just to get out frustration. Bam, bam. He was just this old, he was like Bruce Wayne in retirement,
Yeah.
Thing.
Which I kind of liked. An old Bruce Wayne appealed to me. I don't know why.
And he just, and he was kind of pitiful. Because he was rich, he was like Charles Foster Kane. He was rich, and he just didn't. There was crime. It was the Dark Knight. It was like there's too much crime. I can't make a difference. So I'll just take my frustrations out on shooting the suit.
Yeah, which you can't damage.
Which I can't damage. Yeah, yeah. And that's the way they found him. Stuff like that. That's a good plot point. And but just take it as a plot point.
Right.
You don't bring this guy back and have him, you can to a certain extent as a support thing, the cavalry or whatever, but don't put the spotlight on him.
Right.
Don't put the spotlight on the former PC. You've got PCs here. Use them.
Well, yeah, you make them secondary to whatever the plot is.
Yeah.
You know,
should not. Yeah, they should not be secondary to him.
Correct. Yeah, correct. It's one of those where there's an adventure idea I had where I have like this high-level monk who's acquired enough XP to go to his next level, but he's so high in level where he has to challenge for it. I think he was like 13th level going to 14th. And the problem is that he knew the monk that he was challenging would do underhanded things to make sure he never got there. So he basically said, "All right, I'm going to hire these. I'm going to hire these PCs. I'm going to sit in this wagon while we're heading towards the monastery, and whatever happens, good, bad, or indifferent, you guys handle it. Do not disturb me unless it's literally a matter of life and death." And that's the only thing. And then as a sort of reward, you would watch if the PCs succeeded in the in journeying to the monastery, and all kinds of things would happen, en route that the PCs would have to deal with. Right. At the end, they got to see him actually challenge that monk and win, or at least that's the end of the plot or whatever. I wouldn't roll it out because it would take forever, but that's pretty much the reward of it. And then maybe, say, all right, you can use my monastery as a base as long as you're not disturbing the studies of my students and things like that.
My favorite example of how that was used in media was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the way they used Nick Fury. That was perfect. I mean, that one where, what was it, the two computer geeks, the Scottish one and the other one, got trapped down in that diving bell, and they thought they were going to die or something like that. And he breaks out, and she breaks out, go, I'll sacrifice myself. And the next thing I know, there's a helicopter, and there's Nick Fury's hand. They had no idea he was out there. That somehow he got a hold of him and saved their butts. That's a good use of a former PC right there.
Correct.
Fitz and Simmons.
Fitz and Simmons, Fitz and Simmons were going to die in this chamber in the ocean, and it's just like, he was sacrificing himself, but the next thing you know is open it, and there's this hand. There's Nick Fury pulling them both up, and it was great. It was a great moment. Anyway, I digress. Thank you, sir.
Yep. Thanks, Cal.
Thanks, Cal.
Okay, we got the next one is from Angelic Doctor, DM Raul.
Raul! Okay.
Oh, so let me just get set here.
Lay it on us and turn it up a bit.
Okay, hold on. I will do that. Let me make sure it's up. Okay, I just can't play it too loud because my girlfriend's sleeping right next to me. All right.
Yeah, what?
Headphones. Stop that. All right, hold on.
Hello, fellows of THACO's Hammer. This is DM Raul, or Angelic Doctor on the forums. I've got a question. You mentioned game-breaking spells in a recent episode, 104, specifically, and I'd like to pick your brains about the death spell. Is this game-breaking? If so, what can you do to make it not game-breaking? Thank you very much, and this is the best damn second AD&D podcast ever, and I am pleased to be a listener. Farewell, folks.
Thanks, AD.
And don't you ever forget it.
Very much. We appreciate that.
I'm going to look it up while we're talking. Go ahead.
Okay. Now we're talking about a specific spell here, right?
Well,
not the generic death spells like Power Word Kill.
Oh, no. He's talking about Death Spell, which is an 8th level mage spell, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me 1 minute.
That one always slips my mind because when I think of an instant kill spell, I think of Power Word Kill.
Right. Yeah, which is basically say die, make your save. If you don't save, then you
die.
You die. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 8th. Oh, there it is. It's 6th. Wow, who knew that?
Now, full on, I would not put you past. I would not put you past using this. But have you ever had to circumvent it?
There's ways and means. It's not as game breaking as one thinks, and usually the the limitations on it being, I believe, hit point, or hit dice related.
That's correct.
Make it less impressive. It's good for taking out masses of minions, if I recall.
Yeah, that's pretty. From what I'm looking at, yeah, that's pretty much it. The lower.
Oh, it's an area effect thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 30-foot cube per level.
That's why it's different. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can affect a pretty large area, and hit dice under 2, they instantly kill 2 hit dice creatures. Like you roll 4d20 and they die instantly. Hit dice 2 to 4 is 2d20. So as you go up in hit dice, the less creatures can be affected. And and it's one of those where if the hit dice are differing, then you roll the number of then you roll 4d20 and determine how many are affected that way. Excuse me.
It's almost like it's like extreme turning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, except it's with living creatures. But this spell isn't game breaking. I've very rarely even seen it used in my 30 plus years of gaming, to be honest. And the only time I've ever seen it used is when they're up against like a tribe of a couple hundred orcs or something like that, and they don't want to get their hands dirty, quote unquote.
True.
Mm-hmm. So
if they're in a closed room, it's easier. Just web the room, throw in a torch, and close the door.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah,
I've done that before.
Well, the whole thing is that a spell is only game breaking if the DM allows it to be. At least that's my experience.
Mm-hmm.
And if you let a player do this, and you're going for, and I hate this term, but the rule of cool. When you're going for the rule of cool, and you decide to go against go against the safeguards the rules put in regarding a certain spell or even a certain magic item, then of course, then they can be game breaking. But, like I said, it's up to a DM and up to the DM to actually have the chutzpah to say no. You can't.
You can't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't mind using the rule of cool sometimes, depends on the situation, but I'll always use the rule of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Well, yeah. Yeah, well, all things considered, yes, as well as we know. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it takes just a little thought of the DM. If the player is obviously trying to game the system to create a certain outcome, and it's something you disagree with, it's perfectly within your purview to say no, you can't do it that way.
Actually, if they're I wouldn't call it gaming the system, try to get a certain outcome, because we're all trying to get a certain outcome.
Right.
The players and the DM and everything.
Right.
But if they're especially egregious about it, and it's all to the advantage of him,
mm-hmm. Yep.
Then yeah, I would have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm. No, and I would as well, and that's when I would say no, you can't do it with that.
If it comes up with a plan that's to the advantage of all the players, and I hadn't thought of it, it's like, okay, you got me. Very well. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, every once in a while, sure, but yeah, I mean, when you've got one of those players who's always looking for the edge and looking for the loophole, and then it just becomes.
Once again, everybody's doing that, but if you got somebody who's like just going out of his way to do it,
Mm-hmm.
But and any rebuts on this? Anybody full on?
Well, generally this one doesn't really have that much to do in the way of game breaking, because if you're running this against your players, they should be able to take it. You shouldn't just be knocking them over. It's often potentially part of a trap or something like that, or it's one of the things in the BBEG's repertoire of, I'm going to get rid of all your supporting minions when you went and brought in the town guard or whatever it is you did. It's doable. The flip side of that is, if you're the GM and your players are of a level capable to cast this, you should probably be aware of that and the fact that it's in their spellbook, and keep it in mind, and don't just have the entire, adventure hinge on the fact I've got, 120 kobolds waiting in the wings to swarm everybody, and that's my plot hook for making things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When suddenly, they're all dead.
Yeah.
Plan B.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the same time, sometimes you should let that happen, because that's the way the building thinks.
Yeah.
Because it's not fair to always go. They always try and use the death spells. Oh, they have protective magics on them or something like that. It's not fair to do that every single time.
Correct.
For the players.
No.
So you know, it's a judicious thing. It's use your head.
Perfect example of seeing something like that play out. It's not a perfect example. I'm going to use it anyway. Yoda walks in on the Emperor. He's got 2 Imperial guards there. He just goes flip, and they drop, and then he has this fight with the Emperor. That could be a case where it's in use.
Yeah.
I'm just not going to mess with these minions. I'm dealing with you. You're my target.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was nice. You're right. Like I said, judicious use. Totally blew my thought there. Okay.
It's early. Don't worry about it.
It's very.
I can make everything Star Wars. Don't test me on this.
We know. Yes, we know. Okay, so
what about the Prime Directive? Oops, sorry.
Oh boy, now you're definitely crossing streams. Let's stop that. Actually, as an aside, the best thing I've ever seen, one of the best T-shirts I've seen recently is a picture of a Dalek, and the caption below says, "Yeah, it's R2-D2. I loved him in Star Trek." How to annoy everybody at once.
I saw the one that said, "Use the Force, Harry, Gandalf," and then they show a picture of Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart, yeah, how to piss off all the nerds.
Yes. I have that one. Another one just started coming out. May the Force ever be in your favor, Frodo.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. But, once again, we digress. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raul.
Thank you, Angelic.
Yes. And this is voicemail number 5. And
wow.
Yeah.
We're just cutting through these.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty easy to answer. We haven't even gotten to an hour yet. I think we're only like 45 minutes in. Let's see.
Our loss is your gain.
Exactly. Okay, this is another one from DM Cal, so hold on.
Hi, THACO's Hammer. It's DM Cal again. I've been listening to episode 112. I really love your segment talking about how you might try and use, say, a carnival section with a party and so forth. I had an idea. It was a brainstorm. Spoiler, lead into what I'm about to suggest because of it. And I was wondering what your take would be on this would be designing a carnival that is a front. It is a traveling carnival that is a front for a thieves guild. How would you do that? How might it work? What are some of the places that you might have to visit? What are some of the problems that you have? What are some of the hooks that you come from? I've gotten a lot. I would love to hear your guys' concept on this and maybe build it into the DM brainstorm world that you've been sort of building up, such as cities and cliffs and your bayou area and everything. So thanks. Keep on bringing the hammer down, and best of luck to all of you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Cal.
Okay. That's an interesting one.
He sounds a little bit too enthusiastic. I hope he's not disappointed with our answers.
All we can do is the best we can. Okay, designing...
With the time we have left.
Exactly.
Yes, I know.
Exactly. But,
carnivals.
Yeah, carnival as a front for thieves. That's actually not that hard when you think about it.
Yeah.
Kind of the default.
Actually, there's a 2E module out there. I can't remember. I think it's called Carnival or Carnival of Evil stuff. It was published for D&D, but it says you can also use it for Ravenloft.
I know exactly which one you're thinking of. I have that Dungeon magazine.
I see it at Half Price Books. It says $20. I put it back.
Oh, you mean it's an actual Ravenloft supplement?
No, it's a module. It's a D&D 2nd edition module, but it gives the title, and underneath it says also for use with Ravenloft.
Oh, interesting.
I've never seen that before.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that either.
So they got a whole module's worth out of it. I would go to source material.
Well,
first. I mean,
go to a carnival. Well, there's a reason.
Yeah, let's go to a carnival. I mean, there's a lot of old TV shows with episodes in carnivals. Well, I'm thinking of the movie Nightmare Alley.
Actually, I'll go one better. I'm thinking Octopussy. That entire carnival was a bunch of thieves, and acrobats, as you saw at the end. But yeah, I mean, it's one of these things where, let's put it this way: I used to go to a traveling carnival every summer when I was a kid. They would come to my hometown. They would stay from like, oh God, was it like the first or second week in June all the way to July 4th? Then they would leave and go somewhere else. And I mean, it was a full carnival with the animals, the freak shows, the rides, everything. And yeah, it was pretty interesting.
I cannot think of the title of the book, but there is actually a book out there that was written by, I don't know if somebody did research or they were a former carny or whatever. It tells you, first of all, it gives you all the recipes for all the cool, carnival and fair food.
Yeah.
But it also shows you, it pulls back the curtain on all the things like all the games, how they rig them.
The grift, yes.
Yeah, the grift.
All the grifts. And it was fascinating to read. And some of it was pretty obvious. Something was pretty basic. Okay, yeah, I know. That's why they do it that way.
Yeah, the BB guns with the targets.
Right. BB guns, they got throwing the balls and you can't lean over and you get the counter right there. And it's like, yeah, that's pretty obvious. The bottle, knocking the bottles over.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course they're going to be weighted. Yes, I expect that. But that's the whole point. Here's the thing about a carnival is, I got this from that movie Nightmare Alley and also other things, people want to get flim-flammed.
A little bit.
To a certain extent, but that's part of what you call the entertainment. It's not like you're a con artist trying to bilk their entire savings away from them. No, the carnies know this. It's like an unspoken thing. I said, this guy, the electric girl, okay, is kind of faked, but it looks cool.
Right.
That thing.
Right, and that was the whole thing, yeah.
So how do we work that into a carnival atmosphere in D&D?
Well, it would have to be, everyone would have to be a thief. Of course, the ringmaster is your guild lead, your guild master. Right. And everyone is has disguises, and they all have roles to play within the carnival. And the thing is whether or not they're neutrally aligned or evilly aligned. If they're evilly aligned, then they're actively searching for ways to steal from the people that come to the carnival.
Disguised as the usual grifts.
Correct. And even going so far as to kidnapping certain people. Maybe that's even how they keep their membership numbers up.
It doesn't even have to be the entire thing. It could be each section has its own spiel that goes on. I mean, you could have the freak show being run by the mad scientist necromancer. You could have the clowns being run by the thieves. You could have the animal handlers, whatever, just being run by a militant druid or something. Now, it can all have its own little flavor, and you could have sects within the traveling circle of whatever that is going on. So they're all equally applicable.
And you could also always do regular carnival by day or when they're open. When they close, something else.
Yeah, something else entirely, exactly.
Then they start to go to town. Maybe the town they end up in after the carnival closes, that's when they start their thiefly activities for the night.
Or the slasher movie activities. I mean, take a look at American Horror Story Freak Show. Perfect example of everything strange that could be going on around that.
Or Carnival.
Yep.
Yes.
There's a supplement for that as well. Carnival.
That's it. That's the D&D 2E one I was trying to think of. Carnival.
Oh, yeah, I got that.
Yeah. It says right there, it says also for use with Ravenloft. So, I can see that in Ravenloft, a Dark Carnival.
Especially one run by the friggin' gypsies, able to cross the boundaries.
The Vistani, yes.
When the Vistani are running that and they're able to just freely go from sector to sector, then you have, a hook and possibly an out.
I mean, you got great
players.
Yeah, you got great from episodes of TV shows to what we said to things like the Seven Faces of Dr. Lau. And Something Wicked This Way Comes.
Right.
You got tons of. There's even a video game out there called Carnival.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
when you think about it, there's a Greyhawk equivalent that they're basically a bunch of gypsies who were acrobats and things like that, and they come to town, and even the people in the town know that these people are going to steal from them, but as long as they don't steal too much, it's okay, because they have like an element of danger, an element of intrigue, entertainment. It's all mixed up in there. Yeah.
It's a lot easier than having the barbarian hordes come over the hill and just lay waste to your farms every year. Oh, the carnival's in town. They don't get to live inside the town. That's why they get forced to set up their camp outside town, and people have to trek to it because they know better than to let them inside the walls. You know, but they still want them there, just not too close.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I don't know how heinous you want to get with the crimes with them, because they still have to go from place to place. And I know, you don't have the internet and telephones and stuff around that time, but still, word will get around.
Yeah, eventually, and that's why most.
You mean too much baby snatching and cannibalism is bad for business?
Yeah. You think so? Maybe, perhaps.
Never found it that way.
I could see the guy who runs the carnival saying, don't steal, only steal so much as the town can afford.
Correct.
Or something like that.
That's like a going rule with the traveling bands, thieving bands of entertainers, or even traveling circuses like that. That's
another reverse trope can be used on that. Is it's not the bad guy that the carnival is. It's actually the traveling Robin Hood band.
Yeah.
Doing the A-team thing and undoing horrible things at the places they travel to.
Yep. Yeah. And
anybody remember in the court jester what Giacomo actually was? An assassin. So there's another. You might have an assassin in your midst in the carnival too.
Yeah, you most certainly could. I mean, yeah, that was also the other function of that traveling troupe of entertainers in Octopussy, is that they were all,
high order spies.
High order spies and assassins, correct? And it was just one of those. Personally, I loved it because I was a James Bond freak back in the day, but I liked it because almost all of them were female, and they were almost all good looking. It was awesome. But
yeah, and there was what's another Marvel? What's that villain's name? The Ringmaster.
Yeah, the Ringmaster. Yep.
His troop. Same thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Ringmaster and his Carnival of Evil, or whatever the hell they called it.
Yeah, been around since like the 60s.
Yeah. With that hat that hypnotizes people.
Yeah.
There's another thing. You'd have like fortune tellers and stuff with them too that can do stuff like that. And once again, the Vistani.
Exactly. And it comes back to that. And
I mean, it's a classic trope that's been used by everybody. You can find the carnival as a thing happening in Knight Rider, in A-Team, and in Wonder Woman.
Yes. If you want to go 70s, yes. I'm also thinking of, there's an old, folks, I'm 58, you're going to have to put up with it. An old movie, Murders in the Rue Morgue. The doctor in there, Bela Lugosi, he's got a gorilla that he's learned to talk and learned to do his bidding after hours, like kidnapping sacrifices, so he can women, so he can experiment on them and maybe mate with his gorilla.
That's some dark stuff. Considering that movie was like the late 50s.
No, that was the 30s.
Wow, it's even darker.
Yeah, well, this was pre-code Hollywood too, so
that's true.
They could go a little further than later on. So yeah, that's another thing, because they got a full-blown carnival in that. That's a good place to do. I mean, I'd take that doctor and I'd place him in D&D in a heartbeat. Him and his gorilla.
Right, and make him like an animalist or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, like a Beastmaster or something. And he's lonely.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've given Cal enough inspiration. Although
enough rope to hang himself with.
Yeah, well, you know.
Thanks, Cal.
Yep.
Let's do another one.
All right, last one, and last but not least, this is.
By the way, Cal, that was a lot of fun. Thanks.
Yeah, it was. Thank you. And this last one is from Kojo. So give me one moment, please.
Hey, Coach.
Hey guys, DM Kojo, and I'm calling you not from Gen Con, as I did not get to go. Never been to Gen Con, hope to someday, although Gary Con is more my flavor and size. Gen Con, I think, would be a good once-in-a-lifetime experience someday. Anyway, what I'm actually calling about is I just listened to episode 106, and the one person wrote in asking about 2E rules that we throw out. And you mentioned you all throw out racial level limits. I keep the racial level limits. I like them. I think the balance is appropriate. And that's going all the way back, so I stick with that. However, a couple things I do throw out, besides the obvious that everybody throws out, like encumbrance, because I don't know anybody that plays that. But I throw out the max spells learned for wizards. I figure if you find the spell and you roll to learn it, that there shouldn't be a maximum limit to the number of spells per level you can learn. Obviously, you can only memorize so many per day, and I do adhere to those limits, but I do have that. So the other thing that I tend to throw out is with clerics, I let them free cast spells that they've learned due to a high wisdom bonus. So those bonus spells are free castable. And so I break the rules on that one. Other than that, I play pretty close to by the book. All right, guys. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Coach.
Not bad, not bad.
Not bad at all. Well, go ahead, Fullen.
I was going to say that for the level limits thing versus the it's a individual preference and choice on that. For the spells per day for wizards, the way that I usually alter the rule on that is not so much that I throw it out entirely, it's that we sidestep it to say spells that you create or do spell research for don't count against your total, because you're going through the trouble of spell research. You create the spell. So if you hit your cap, that's when people, usually by the time they've hit their cap, they're high enough level that they're notable, so when they start making spells, those spells get named for them, because that's where all these named spells come from. Wizards who hit their cap and started making their own spells.
And if you're one of those DMs who like players to be creative like that, encourage that, that's a perfect way to do it.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then for the, what was the other bit? The other bit was about free casting for clerics. That one catches me strange. How did you work that? Because clerics don't learn spells. They are already aware of all spells within their faith and can cast them because they prayed for them. So free casting a count? Are you saying that you let them, whichever their quantity of bonus spells for high wisdom are, the ones that they can drop in free cast? Or are you saying that they have to have learned their priestly spell and then that is the spell that they can free cast because it's a extra spell that they were able to pray for?
In my old basic game, it would be, I love this, clerics can free cast whatever spell they know. But the catch is spells they know. Because these are what the god puts in their head for the day. In fact, Matt even did a couple times, it's like, okay, you have this spell, but I wanted that spell. Well, your god told you this is what you get today.
No, I disagree with that. I've never liked that at all.
But I love free casting. It makes all the difference in the world, especially if the cleric's going to be the the support, like the healer and stuff like that. Especially for that, I don't mind them casting as many times as they want per day. But like I said, they can only cast the spells they know.
Well, again, it gets back to the point of what spells do clerics know, Is
Right.
it that, as you were saying it, where it's the ones that your God gifts you, which is the DM writing the script, or is it the ones that do you have clerics doing the trouble of spell research and adventure to become familiar with new prayers that they can do? You know,
Right.
it doesn't really make sense that much. But I've seen GMs that do that. They do the exact same rules for priests that they do for wizards, and you have them all basically under the same boat, just with different number rosters they operate from.
Right.
And then you have, okay, again, this is a good middle ground for someone who wants to try out free casting but doesn't want to tear the top off the can. You pray for the spells that you plan to have. You get to free cast a number of spells equal to your bonus spells per level if you have bonus spells per level, encouraging high wisdom and encouraging the freedom of flexibility if you have it, and without giving it, just free reign on, hey, free cast everything till you burn your spell slots and go to the next.
Yeah,
It's a good
I
middle
say
ground.
I say the ones you've learned per level. I think free casting is a double-edged sword too, because if you're free casting, that pretty much puts the god in the parent role.
Well, that's
You've been it didn't go off. Why? You're not using it right.
Well,
I don't want you to use it for that.
well. That's well. See, and this
Again,
is,
that's a GM being violating the D-bad rule.
Really?
yeah, it is. I agree. Now, my whole take on it is like this, and I'll speak for Corey because Corey's said more than enough on this topic that when it's come up, is that how he regulates it is the piety points. That's what he uses.
Okay.
For that basically makes the player actually say, well, your character, my priest is praying for this, or he's attending this service, or he's observing that holiday of his god, and he's not just obsessed with adventuring. And now, with the way I look at it, I understand why he does it, because it's a way to make sure to monitor a player's behavior, not the character's behavior, but the player's behavior. And if the player's not doing what the character is supposed to be doing, either off camera, or even just mentioning it in passing or whatever, but if the player's not having his character do these things, all of a sudden he doesn't get spells. And he has problems with his faith, with his deity, and the church is like, well, we've been told through an intermediary that you haven't been doing these things, and you must atone for that, and things like that. And that's a built-in monitoring system for a player, not so much for the character. Now,
Are you saying that the metagame is not important in that respect?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer, at least to me. I mean, metagaming is such a...
There's always going to be a certain amount of metagame.
Yeah, a certain level of it. It's just when it gets excessive is when there are problems. That's true. But at least to me, I have gone with clerics just being able to free cast from the start. I have no issue with it. All it does is just give the cleric utility. It means that the cleric doesn't have to memorize 3 cure spells, and if you need a light spell because all your torches are burned out, or you got lost or got soaked in water and you can't use them, now you have a light source, and things like that. And I've gotten into arguments on message boards for years about this, because there are those who want to go the complete opposite extreme, saying, well, that just gives the cleric players more power. It's like, look, 9 times out of 10 in my experience, clerics have been treated like walking aid stations. And it's like, this is a way for them to do other things than to just have cure spells ready because because you get your butts kicked by a dragon or a giant or whatever. And
I mean, that's why they started giving them the option to incorporate burning turns to execute supernatural power things in lieu of spells.
Correct.
And in lieu of the fact that nobody's bothering to turn.
Well, and
so
you know
we have
what?
to give that power an outlet some other way.
Right. And I hope this doesn't sound like a contradiction on my part, but excuse me. I think that just them having spells at all kind of I'm not going to say diminishes them, but kind of puts this mindset in the players that, like you said, they're a walking Red Cross.
Well, that comes.
But the point is, they're supposed to be fighting priests, and I've seen so many groups worried about if the cleric's all right when he should be up there near the front lines fighting too.
Correct, but the problem is that, and this is the way gaming has gone and developed, and I hate to say the word because, well, changed. I won't use the word evolved. It's changed over the years. Is that, yeah, when I first was starting playing, priests were up there and in the front rank, or at least second rank, and they were fighting, and the healing spells were saved for after the battle was over.
Right.
But now it's sort of.
But now the players realize, oh my God, he can get hurt. We won't have any healing.
Yeah, exactly. And if they want to play conservative like that, that's fine. But at the same time, yeah, the clerics are the second best combat class in the game.
That's why, as a player, I always like, are there healing potions available? Can we get some?
Right.
Not only for the times when we don't have a cleric, but for the time that frees the cleric up to let him do the rest of what he's supposed to do.
Correct. Yeah, I get that totally. I mean, and Falon mentioned the, burning of, powers for, to do extra things. That's where the rule in 3rd edition came, where you could sacrifice a spell for healing, because you could run out of healing spells, and you most definitely did.
Right.
But my whole thing is that I would just give them the utility from the jump off and not worry about it. Now, if I have a player who's going to treat his cleric as a walking aid station, then I'll incorporate something like piety points and say, look, guy, this isn't about having just a number of spells to be able to go through, willy-nilly. That you're not playing your cleric as well as, number one, I would like, and number two, you're not playing it as the class was designed. And if you're going to just say you're just a fighter with healing spells, then okay, then that's when you're going to run into at some point. I don't even have to think to even skew things. It's just going to be, if you're going to be up in the front line, sooner or later you're going to get smacked. That's just how it works.
And you know what? I used to not like this when I first dealt with basic, but I kind of really like it now. The fact that priests don't get spells at first level.
I hated that.
It
made absolutely no sense to me, even when I first started playing.
It makes great sense to me, because they have to prove themselves to their god before he's going to give them anything like that.
And considering,
and also it forces the cleric to actually be a fighting priest for at least one level.
Well, the problem is how brutal basic was, is that characters would die at first level at a horrific rate.
And that's
because there were no clerics at first level that could make them not die.
Correct.
But there's healing potions.
Not at first level.
Who gives healing potions at first level?
His temple, his church, if they can get enough money to buy
I was going to say, how are they going to afford that?
And well, that's
they're going to beggar themselves.
Once again, that's another great plot hook. You want these healing potions? Well, we got something for you to do after you finish this.
Yeah, and then they end up getting killed by that because they're first level.
So that's what happens to first level characters.
I get that. I'm just saying that let's put the survival.
I'm not saying it's a perfect solution, but it's a good solution.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree on that.
It's a permanent solution.
Very much so.
Yes. Death is rather permanent first level. Yes, it is.
Yeah, roll up another cleric and go.
Jeez. But anyway, so
I'm brother Skippy. Let's go.
I think we've debated that to its end.
Yeah, that woke me up a little this morning.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Thank you, Kojo, for doing it again. What it is, I don't know, but you did it again. And you folks, I think we're at the end, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. You folks, THACOshammer@gmail.com, or like all these other voicemails, we have a voicemail number too.
That is 405-806-0555.
Send us your questions.
Please.
Post to us on your forums. We have Dragon's Foot. We have osrgaming.org. We have d20radio.com. We have more places than can be listed.
Mm-hmm.
d20radio.com, is that still a thing?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Going strong, too.
Good.
Let's see. We've got Facebook. We've got Twitter. We've got Tumblr. You know, there are ways to get a hold of us. Just put in THACO's Hammer. You know, leave us if you can, leave us a message on our main on our website.
Write it on a napkin and send it to us.
Yes. Yeah. It's not hard, people. You know, just let us know what you're thinking.
All right, we don't have to browbeat them. You know, they get the point.
Yeah.
Let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Well, that closes this splat. Number 120.
Mm-hmm.
Not much in content, but a lot of emails.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, well, say goodbye, Full-On.
Goodbye, Gamer Nation. This is us coming to you from 1/3 of the way through the circle of posts.
Okay.
120 degrees, 120 episodes.
Oh, okay, got it.
Got it. Say goodbye,
I
Brian.
got math jokes.
Oh,
jeez, yeah, that went right over my head.
Yeah, that's fine. Say goodbye, Brian.
And remember, folks, if you have a cleric, make sure to tell the DM at least every once in a while that you're staying behind and praying to your god as you probably should. It keeps your god happy. It keeps your DM moderately happy.
More or less.
Violent purge of the heretics. That's what makes you God.
We should do an all-cleric show sometime.
Oh,
and I'm
God.
DM Glen saying we'll see you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye-bye. Yes, we should do a cleric show, you think?
As long as we can not argue about what we just argued about.
Well, no, that's
exactly
that's
what
called,
the show's going to be about.
That's called good podcasting, Brian.
Okay, that's called taking my blood pressure up 30 points. That's what that's called.
Please, the show is not about us all agreeing all the time on everything.
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at thacoshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the 2nd edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.